Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be discussing the topic of non-magnetic cubes versus magnetic cubes, going all the way up from 2x2 to 7x7. So if you guys enjoy this video, I would encourage you to leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. So let's get started. So of course, let's start with 2x2s. This is the non-magnetic Chi or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it's called. But it's like a $4 cube. It's actually not bad. And the reason why it's not bad is because all 2x2s, or most 2x2s, are decent cubes. Like, you could use it as a speed cube, no problem. There are some exceptions like the Rubik's brand and some other really bad speed cubes that aren't really speed cubes. But for the most part, they're all going to be pretty good and only going to have minor flaws. One thing that I will mention before I get too far in this video is that most of the cubes that are magnetic are just better overall cubes. They're made better and just a better base cube. The magnets aren't the best part of it. And that can kind of be the case with 2x2s, but for the most part, these cheaper base cubes are still going to be decent cubes. Now, how important are the magnets in a 2x2? Well, really not that important, because when you're holding a 2x2, you're kind of holding the whole cube, and there aren't really any parts of the cube that you can't control, as well as the corner cutting on most cubes being pretty good. Like, this cube can corner cut about 45 degrees, or close to it. And so this is my main. This is the Moyu RS2M Evolution 2022 version. I'd say it's a great cube. I mean, I main it, but the base cube itself I wouldn't say is a whole lot better than this cube. In fact, my old main, the YJ MGC, which a lot of people think is a great cube, I never liked this cube. I actually, for a while, was maining this cube over this cube, and this cube is magnetic. So that just kind of goes to show that in 2x2, it's not as much about the magnets as it is the base cube. So whatever base cube you think is best, I'd recommend that. While magnets can be helpful, aligning the pieces, 2x2, really not that important. Okay, so let's move on to the giant of cubes. And by giant, I don't mean giant, I mean most popular, and that would of course be the 3x3. So this is it says Integear on it, but it's really just a rebrand of the Chi 3x3, just the 3x3 version of this cube. And this is also a pretty popular cube. I wouldn't say it's as popular, but this was my first speed cube, my first non-Rubik's brand cube, and it's not the best. With 3x3s, there are a lot more differences from cube to cube than there are 2x2s. There are some 3x3s that are just really bad, and then there are some that are good, and a lot of times how good they are is subjective. It depends on whose cube it is. But this cube it catches a lot. It has not the best corner cutting. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not that great, especially the reverse. When I was first learning how to solve a cube, I was using this, and even when I was down to like 50 seconds time, I was annoyed by this cube. And same kind of thing with 2x2s. And so a lot of times when you pay more for cubes, you're going to get a better cube. Although this is the cheapest magnetic cube you can get. This is the Meilong M. And when you're using it, you can feel the magnets, even though they're pretty weak. It's really nice to always have your turns aligned and not have a cube that constantly looks like this or something. And so, see, like that, it does stuff like that. So the magnets just make it a lot more fluid, and a lot more controllable and nice, help it keep its shape. Unlike whenever a cube does this, it gets pretty annoying. And so, in solves, the magnets do help a lot. So I'd say definitely go for magnetic cubes. If you're buying your first speed cube, you may as well go buy something like the RS3M 2020, some cheap magnetic cube. And while I do think the Meilong M is a great cube, it's much better base cube even than this cube, even though the base cube without magnets is the same price. There are even more expensive cubes. Things like the Worm 2021 Maglev, which is kind of outdated because the Worm V9 has come out. But I still really like this cube. And this cube actually has core magnets in it. And that's another thing I want to address. That's a more recent technology. I think the first cube that had core magnets in that you could buy was the GAN 11 back in 2019, I'm pretty sure. Not 100% positive on that, but core magnets are becoming more and more of a thing, and now you can buy kits to put core magnets in like your 4x4, 5x5, 6x6. It's crazy. But the core magnets make that big of a difference? Well, yeah, they'll pull your cube from further away for sure. So this cube doesn't come with core magnets normally, but I installed some in one of my oldest videos, and it does autocorrect your turns quite a bit, and it kind of helps the cube keep an even stiffer shape than something like this, where you can kind of pull it apart easier. In this, you could feel quite a bit of resistance from the core. And so, do I think core magnets are good? Well, yeah, they are good to an extent. You don't want them super strong. Now, core magnets do kind of hurt your inner layer turning, as any really strong magnets would, because when you're turning the middle layers, there's more resistance because there's double the amount of magnets. Well, it's not a huge deal unless if you're doing like the roux method. I would say it does get a little bit annoying at times, but I do think that core magnets feel really good. So I would definitely recommend magnets on the 3x3, and if you're in the budget, core magnets are a good option. Okay, so this is where it starts to become a bigger deal. Now, with bigger cubes mean more misaligned layers and more annoyances. This is the Zishu 4x4 or something like that. It's a YJ mini cube. It's actually the same size as a standard. Whoa. It's actually a mini cube and the same size as a standard 3x3, which I think is just kind of funny. And this is also, I'm pretty sure, a rebranded Melon. And it's not the best base cube at all. It has some, I mean, it's not terrible, but the higher up you get in cubes, the bigger of a difference you have between budget cubes and the speed cubes. And that's especially evident with 4x4s, as they have all these inner pieces. It's kind of hard to see, but there are a bunch of inner pieces. And with more misaligned layers without magnets, you're just going to be like, yeah, I need magnets. It gets misaligned constantly. It's kind of annoying when you have like sloppy, layers like this. Whereas when you have magnetic cube, it's all still really stiff, nice and fluid, and holds its shape really well. So I would say the bigger the cubes are, the more important magnets are. And so yes, 4x4, of course, I would say definitely go with magnets. This is like the cheapest one you can get that is actually really good, although it is kind of small, so it might not be for you. The MGC is $20, which is about as good as this, maybe a little better, and it's a standard size. So yes, I would definitely recommend magnets in a 4x4. Okay, 5x5. Now this is also a mini cube. This is also one of the YJ mini cubes, and this is just a little bit bigger than a 3x3. And this is standard size. This is the Chi one. This is my first cube that was bigger than a 3x3. And just like with 4x4, as you would expect, it gets annoying not having magnets. Bigger difference between the budget cubes and the speed cubes is also very apparent here. This cube is very nice, it holds its shape very well, the magnets make it turn really great, and it's awesome having magnets in a 5x5, unlike whenever you have stuff like this happening, when you don't have magnets. Like, seriously, just get a magnetic 5x5. Anything, really, just get the magnetic cubes if you can. But yeah, 5x5s for sure, nothing else really I need to say. And, of course, may as well keep going. I only have magnetic 6x6s, so may as well pull out my 7x7s. This is also a Chi 7x7, which, ignore the messed up super flip. Yeah, that kind of got messed up. But basically, I mean, just look at this. No explanation needed here. You need magnets if you have a 7x7. This is another YJ cube, although it's not a mini cube. It's just one of the regular budget cubes. It is magnetic, though. And the magnets are kind of weak in this cube, but they are definitely a lot nicer to have. Like, you can just turn, no problem, on this cube. Yeah. Don't really need to explain, just buy a magnetic 7x7. This cube's only like $2 more than this one anyway. It was a mistake for me to buy this cube, but I'm glad I have it. So that's about all I have to say. So obviously I would recommend magnetic cubes if you can get them. If you can't afford them, that's okay. Just get whatever cubes you think are good, even if they're not magnetic. If you're just learning, I would still recommend magnetic cubes if you can afford them, because they will pay off by the time you know how to solve them. So anyways, pretty straightforward video. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. We'll see you next time, and bye.